Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production for Gorcom, in which we take the time to speak to small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, ecstatic to have him back, Bernard Tourdiol, CEO of HPQ Silicon. For those of you new to the story, if you're a believer in the renewable energy revolution and the paradigm shift towards electric vehicles and batteries, you're going to love this interview with Bernard, because the company, HPQ, is a cutting-edge Canadian producer of high-value silicon products that are sought after by the battery and electric vehicle manufacturers, amongst other industries. And more than just lip service, they've already signed at least 7 NDAs with EV manufacturers, battery makers, and other high-value material companies. And the recurring theme between all those NDAs is their ability to one-step manufacture high-purity silicon that reduces costs and all sorts of other benefits. And the huge news today, their pilot plant has now officially produced 3N silicon. That's 3 nines, 99.92 in a single step. Bernard, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you.
Man, congratulations, I think, are in order. How big is this milestone? Because not a lot of people in the world understand what 3N means, one step in manufacture for silicon. Big picture, how big is this for the company?
Massive. Big picture, simple, it's massive. Massive for one simple step, okay? There's a lot of people in the industry, within the industry, that doubted we could ever reach this stage. Okay? I never doubted it, but the naysayers, and we've done it. So, the reason why I say it's massive is because a lot of our investor presentation, investor discussion were based on the following lexicon, which is, we believe that we can do this. Okay. This press release says we have done it. Check mark. Next.
Why is 3N such a big milestone versus 2N? So 2N, you did 99.6, you did 99.8, and now you've done 99.92 twice. Why is 3N such a big milestone? And by the way, are you the first, this first time I'm asking this question, are you the first company to ever do that, to produce 3N in a single step?
In a single step, yes. In a single step, yes. Why is that a big thing? Because, the industry, the traditional industry has the difficulties to go above 2N. They get close to 3N, but not 3N. It's whenever you start wanting something purer, okay, as a product, you then have to add a lot of chemical energy and different process to get it purified, because that's just the way silicone is, and silicone manufacturing is. So yes, it's a massive deal. It was a threshold when I started the industry. People kept telling us, there's no reason why we do above 2N, because there's no market for it. And then now what you discover is that, the market for very nice 2N, which is, the one we've done in the previous tests, that's 3-4. There's a market for it. That's where the demand growth is coming for. And I believe that with the EV revolution and the EV demand coming in, this is going to become even more. We're just at the beginning cusp of where demand for 3N is going to be. So we're one of the leading companies. We have our own proprietary technologies. I would say that's massive.
What's the price difference between selling 2N and selling 3N? So people might get a better understanding that way too. What's the market price for 2N right now? What's the market price for 3N?
Usually the market, it's because it's used for very specific ultra high value materials. So it's feedstock for ultra high value materials. So you basically have a good negotiation position when you do this. Just to give you an idea, the difference between 98.5 and 2N, the good 2N is already 62% more higher. So, it wouldn't be outside of the norm to say it's going to be a 50 to 60% added value. But you have to understand, in HPQ's business plan and philosophy is that we intend to use our unique feedstock capacity to go and attack niche markets that are not currently well deserved, Therefore, instead of getting maybe, $10,000 a ton, we'll get $20,000 to $25,000 a ton. But our costs are not going to change for us. That's really the business plan HPQ is after.
Well, that puts it to perspective right there. And if it's not just the 3N that you accomplish, but then there's a secondary milestone that I think is just as big, and you call it conversion efficiency. What that means is you've confirmed your capability of your process to reduce the cash cost of silicon metal manufacturing. And you're doing that by conversion efficiency. Explain that a little bit to everybody.
I will explain it, because in your explanation, you were confusing me, and I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Go ahead and explain it.
All right.
I want to shorten my question and not take away.
You wanted to shorten your question, but I was like, okay, what is he talking about?
So what's the importance of conversion?
What did I write? What did I write my press release? No. Okay. This is very simple. Making silicone with traditional process, you need 6 tons of raw material to make 1 ton. All right. And the mega plant right now, okay, and this is what we write in the press release with the sources behind where we get this. The big plant, the conversional plant, okay, I think they reach a conversion efficiency, which means how much silicone, how much SiO is extracted, or Si is extracted from SiO. They reach efficiency of about 80 to 90% on their process to make between 1 to 2N material, okay. Where the efficiency starts to tank, okay, is when they try to make higher purity material. So what that means is it costs them more just to do the stuff, because you end up needing more raw material to make a bit of a purer stuff, and usually more expensive raw material to do it, okay? We, on the other hand, because we have an enclosed reactor, okay, we strongly believe that we will be able to reach a 75% conversion yield, okay, and be making 3N plus material. So, 50 to 60, we're at 75. What that's going to mean at the end, what we're looking at, what we're discussing theoretically, and we've been saying this for a long time, okay, we have in our deck that we're going to reduce cash costs we're going to reduce raw material by about 25%. We're now looking at better at 33%. And that's going to have an indirect impact on the cash cost of making the material, because when you make silicone, okay, the biggest cost is all the raw materials needed, and that's 45% of the cost. 33 multiplied by 44%, you get a 14% cash cost improvement. Also, in a mature industry like silicone is, talking about a cash cost reduction above 10%, okay, massive. We're talking about these big companies invest millions of dollars to get half of 1% to 1% efficiency. It goes back to one of the things we've been talking about, which is what we are doing for manufacturing silicone is the equivalent of mainframe computers to desktop.
Wow.
And that was a nice speech of mine, okay? Because we hadn't done it. We were not in the process of doing it. We're not valuing it now. Now we've done the 3N. We've demonstrated we're moving forward. We know what we need to do to get it further on. We know where that's going to get the technology forward. So now is going to be the time where my competitors are going to start to say, oh, we have to start to listen to what Bernard is saying. There's some, they'll watch us.
What will it take to get, because in the press we say, if successful, this could provide HPQ with additional cost advantage compared to traditional methods. How hard do you think it's going to be? It's going to be for you guys to get to the conversion you're looking for.
I will explain it as follows. Okay. When we started the plant, I said, okay, when we reach every one of our milestones, I said, we're advancing forward, we're going to reach the next step. But we hadn't reached them, so people could doubt it. Okay. I am as confident that we're going to reach it as we were that we're going to reach 3N. How many times in an interview I said, and there were people like, oh, you're not reaching 3N, you're not there, you haven't done it. And people were criticizing and said, relax, we're going to do it. We know how to do it. So I am as confident about reaching that milestone as I am about all the other milestones that we have reached. And that's a big difference when you go make sales pitch. Okay. You're either selling the dream or selling the facts, and we're selling the facts. But we've been able to convert the dreams into realities. If you allow me to digress a bit,
Sure.
we've reached a tons of milestones this year. That's a milestone. We've validated that the PureVap technology work. We've validated 2,500% scale. We've validated we can make 3N. We're validating on the right road to cutting manufacturing costs probably by a factor above 10%. And this is a proprietary technology that we own. We're well positioned to meet the future. And there's still more ways for us that I will be able to demonstrate that we will be able to do it even better. And there's a very specific reason why I didn't go and digress about all the other issues, which is at one point we had to deliver. I'm good at talking, but at one point we had to deliver, and now we're delivering.
Is it fair to say you've talked about the FUD before online, and Bernard's not gonna be able to do it? He just talked. How good does it feel to not to address them, but to deliver what you and PyroGenesis have been talking about, to deliver that to your shareholders, to actually be able to say, "Hey, we hit 3M. I think we're gonna hit more."
You know, it's sort of like an ambivalent thing because I never doubted we would reach it. Okay, but what's annoying is getting there. It's like when you're in your car, are we there yet? Are we there yet? We're gonna get there. We're here. Okay, we've done that. Now we got to move it to 4N. There's still things for us to push in advance and start working in a higher value materials and do those things. But the foundations are getting stronger and stronger, and we've built it. I don't really care about the FUDs. At one point, it's like it's part of nature. Some people have no life, and they some people play. What can I say? Like virtual hockey game, and have their virtual hockey team telling us how they'll be the greatest coach ever. Most of the people that criticize what we do on social media is what they're doing. They're playing fantasy CEO because they can't be one. If they could, they would be doing it. No, maybe I'm wrong, but that's my thought.
Yeah.
Anyway,
100%.
So it's a fantasy. They live the fantasy through thinking they can do it. If it's so easy, go and do it. Go and do what I've done. If I'm not that smart, you just go repeat what I'm doing. So and
do it better. If they're that smart, say, well, don't just repeat what I've done. Go do it better. But for the loyal shareholders, you got to be really happy to be.
I'm very happy for the loyal shareholders. I'm very happy because we're delivering on the things moving forward, and I'm also very happy about one thing. Okay. HPQ, there's a lot of talk that we need new technologies, new process to get the world working better in an environmentally more conscious factory, and that's what HPQ is doing. We've demonstrated with the fume silica process. Now that we've reached those goals and that the pilot plant is really starting to hit it on all stride, we'll be able to talk about the green silicone manufacturing. And that's also going to play a lot into this. Don't underestimate the cost of carbon taxes that are there. So that's just what I want to say.
I'm going to talk about 4N in a second because you've mentioned it a couple of times and it's in the press release. But before I get to that, I want to talk the business side because obviously shareholders are watching or listening, want to talk a little bit about that. And specifically, here's my question. In the press release, you say this achievement moves HPQ forward on its goal of producing high purity silicon for battery and other high value applications with the QRR. So my question is, last week you announced an NDA with a leading fume silica manufacturer, and you talked about a big part of that, a big catalyst were the two previous fume silica press releases, announcements you put out that caught the attention and led to the NDA finally getting done. Do you think this press release about the QRR and achieving 3N should and or will attract that level of attention also? Because you've got multiple NDAs already signed. What do you what do you expect or think might be the reaction as the world keeps reading your press release and says, that Bernard guy, he's got 3N now on his way to 4?
I'm going to be very honest. I think it's going to be more, if he reaches that 14% efficiency cash cost reduction, he will be the competitor to beat. That's where it's going to start to come. Remember, it's a mature industry with a few limited amount of players. What the PUREVAP technology is going to allow to do is democratizing, silicone manufacturing. So silicone manufacturing is sort of like an oligopoly between many companies. It's going to become, using the QRR, allow many people to enter the field. So as we demonstrate our technologies, because there's more and more people that want to have a vertical integration of their material, and it wasn't feasible when they had to build a 30,000 metric ton per year silicone smelter plant that didn't work. It's going to be
hundreds
feasible
of millions
with
of dollars.
It's a question of $100 million, expertise. It's not going to be there. Now it's going to that's completely going to change. So there's going to be the big boys looking at, this could become a competitive risk for us. And there's going to be a lot of people that would have loved to enter the silicone manufacturing because they says, wait a minute, I have a niche application. I need 4N material, but I don't need like this thing. And I'm tired of having to fight left and right for this. Maybe I can get my full vertical integration and cutting down. And it goes back to a press release we issued later when, remember when everybody was like having a big conniption. Why did I bother not sending my material to the metal company? Remember that one? Well, the reason why we didn't bother is because we knew we were going to make the 4N. We knew we would be here at one point, and now we're here at that point. So what that means is we're continuing the ongoing discussion with them. They got the material. If they like it, they're going to tell us what modification they do. How can we improve them? How can we move forward? And lo and behold, this could become another market niche, high value application. And there's probably going to be more coming into it because there are small applications for 5N silicone. Basically you take it and you make it a cylinder application. There's a lot of those applications, but they were too small for the big boys to play in, but too big to be different. So, the opportunities for HPQ and our QRR technologies are massive. Just in the battery one is just one. Silicon nitride is the second one. I'm not even sure where the third one's going to become. But I'm not.
Well, that goes back to your mainframe versus desktop. That kind of really personifies it there. That it's going to be democratized. The days of just a few big companies back in the day having supercomputers being able to do things is going to give way to George and Bernard having desktop computers and being able to become competitive and get their tasks done and get all their work done. So you're one. If I hear you correctly, Bernard, you're just almost one last step. It's conversion efficiency. You're one last step away from becoming the company to be.
One last step. We will reach that goal. Okay, once we reach that goal, our technology will be the one to. Then we got to scale it up to commercial size. But that becomes much easier because we have a competitive advantage. It doesn't take a freaking genius to realize if our competitors has a conversion efficiency between 50 to 60% to make a material that's not even as good as ours. Okay. Will be the cheaper one.
And lastly, so let's go to the 4N conversation. By the way, while I said I was going to defer the 4N conversation, a minute or two ago, he said 5N. Okay, but let's start with 4. Filing of the new QRR process patent. HPQ has entered into agreement to acquire all the rights held by the investors of the new
inventors, not investors.
Vendors, I'm sorry. Actually, inventors. Yeah, I'm sorry. of a new PUREVAP QRR provisional patent application. And quote, practically, this invention will allow us to increase the purity of our silicon from 3N 99.92 to 99.992.
Okay.
4N.
What you have to understand is whatever top purity we do with the QRR, we will be able to increase it by 1N. That's what the process is. Okay. So this is one of the processes that other people do, but because if you plug it at the end of the QRR, since the QRR already makes 3N, we have 1N, we're already at 4N one shot. Whereas if we get the QRR closer to 4N, then we'll have 5N material. Okay. So
that's purely the result of the new.
Well, it's
patent.
That's what it's a process patent. Okay, it's not a new invention. It's not a new technology. It's a process patent where you combine these two and you put them together into one. You put those two processes. If you put those two processes together, this is what you'll end up getting. So it's something I've alluded to many times in our presentation. Okay, then we knew how to get an extra 1N. Now's the right time to talk about it, because since we're making 3N, the 1N is 4N. If we were making 2N, the 1N was 3N, people would say, wow, this is failure. You know how people would be. So now that we reached 3N, we can talk about, okay, this is worst case scenario, how we can get to 4N. Best case scenario, how we can get to 5N.
I mean, what happens when you start getting to 5N?
Then we got to start to see what are the application specific needs, specific market for it. Is there really a market for it? It's originally our idea was to go into the solar through a metallurgic process, and we would have been there with the 5N. But the solar industry has changed so much, it'll move forward. But the cost advantage is going to allow us to make a very product, and I believe that by us democratizing silicone manufacturing, there'll be plenty of application, because silicone is one of those, mystical ingredient that everybody uses, nobody knows. And there could have been so many barriers to entry. The fact that it costs, I don't know, the traditional process, $20,000 to make, means you only had small amount of these things in laboratories to play around with. Now, with what we're doing, people are going to say, oh, wait a minute, we thought of this, but we couldn't get the material. Oh, now we can get it with the QRR. That's what I'm sort of saying.
And that opens up in markets that were never available to anybody before you came along.
Yeah, and the beauty of this is that there's already a solid market for 2N plus material growing, which needs new plant to meet the requirement. If you add to this the concept of reshoring and all these put into it, that puts our technology, and it's going to put our technology in high demand. Now, I understand enough how industrial companies are, big industrial companies. They want everything to be done before they approve it. But, that's what we're doing. But we're also designing a business plan where we can succeed independently of them before moving on.
Because you mentioned 2N there, how you move through, we've always had the discussion we've had a discussion about de-risking, which is, George, we're at 2N now. So if we could only produce 2N for the rest of our lives, there's a big market for us. Mm-hmm. And now we're at 3N, and you're saying 4N and 5N are in sight now. Where are
I'm saying 4N in the sight, 5N could be in sight. Let's be very clear.
4N is in sight and 5N could be in the batter's box. Mm-hmm. What is the company's status now in terms of being de-risked? How much further has this milestone and the anticipated milestone of 4N de-risked the company in your eyes?
Massively, but it's not something unexpected for me. As I tell you, what we do, there's no such thing as immaculate R&D, okay? And what we've done here is we reach a milestone in R&D. What's really interesting is, people take a look at this. This was done in test result number 5. Okay, I think it's one we didn't do an interview on because it wasn't that much of an exciting result, because we didn't make the pour. So even when we didn't succeed at reaching that targeted goal, we still de-risked the project, and that's what R&D is. It's I don't think people realize how many of the milestones we've been hitting for the project. People that know, okay, and understand what we're doing are impressed. People that don't know will criticize us. How come you're not there yet? But that's sort of irrelevant. The point is that we're de-risking with every step we move. We're actually also basically, reaching the milestone we said within the time frame we basically said. Next time, next few months are going to be done starting to do the economic studies to build commercial plants, get things moving, getting ready for commercialization. I've started some discussion in different jurisdictions to see how we can finance this. There is massive opportunity to get not non-dilutive, but basically very good terms of financing, a bit like when we started the QRR. And when we signed the deal for the QRR, we committed ourselves to what? Something like $6 million of payment over 3 years, and we have the money in the bank account. And I said to investors, we're going to get some government money into it, which we did. We got 1.8, that became successfully 3.6. And remember, that was for an idea, okay, with a small scale idea at lab level. Now we're talking about a technology that can change the way silicon metal is manufactured. So there is going to be, and silicon metal is a critical element in Europe. So, there are lots of money, government money that can be used for us to attain our commercial goals.
It's June 1st right now. Mm-hmm. What should investors look for? What's the cadence? Again, I'm not going to ask you for specific timelines, but what's the cadence of what happens here over the summer? Because obviously things are not stopping. What should investors be expecting the next 3 months or so?
I think investors should start to realize there's going to be a more consistent news flow for multiple reasons. One of them is, this will be 1 year anniversary of the startup of Novation, and there is news flow coming out of there. The technology is reaching commercial level. Our battery works is moving forward. Fume silica is going to come into line. So there is a prospectus, not a prospectus, but an opportunity for us to continue to advance and keep moving the company forward. And I actually am optimistic that, this bear market that we're in for the type of companies that we are, is going to end relatively soon. Is it now? Is it the end of the quarter? Is it the end of the year? Doesn't really change anything. It's not, none of the big micro economic situation are really going to affect a company like HPQ, because it's actually going to make it even more valuable, because being able to cut down the cost of making something by 10% when there's high interest becomes much more important than everything else. And we don't need massive capex to get rolling. We need 1-2 plants together, probably 2 plants to get the maximum efficiency going forward. And we're talking making 5,000 metric ton per year. So in the market that's 3.8 million a year. It's not really a big issue.
Bernard, thanks for coming on, my man. Congratulations on, I think I've said this 4 times this year now. Congratulations on another amazing milestone. I know how you are. You're not taking any victory laps, and you're still on a mission, and you still have things to do. But I'm going to say congratulations. And I think a lot of shareholders will say congratulations and thank you for another great milestone. And none of us can wait. None of us can wait for the next milestone, having you back on.
Thank you.
To everybody at home, you've been watching or listened by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to Bernard Tourillon, CEO of HPQ Silicon, trades in Canada, HPQ, for friends in the US, HPQFF. For those new to the story and wondering what's going on here, I don't understand silicon. I've never heard about this before, but I know it's important. Get to the company's profile page on Agoracom, get a good layman overview to get you started, and then hop over to the HPQ Silicon website to do your deep dive due diligence. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.